up, fam? It's your favorite cousin, your favorite nephew, your favorite uncle, your favorite father, your favorite son, your best friend's best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry, and welcome to Living For You, the YouTube channel. This is a safe space. It's a positive place in which we gather together and we learn and we grow and we entertain each other and we work together on this journey that we call life, our common journey that we call life. This is one of the best places you can be out here on these internet streets. To my loyal, faithful family, thank you for coming back. I am so glad to see you. I am sending love and light and prayers and goodness your way. You deserve it all. Thank you for following on this journey. To those of you who watch the videos, who comment on the videos, who like the videos, who sometimes share the videos, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel? Become a member. Become a family member so that I can also send love and light your way as well and greet you and you can join in the community and we can discuss things and we can grow. To those of you who've never seen me before, I am Dr. Larry Smith. I am a certified life and spiritual coach amongst a whole list of other things, and you can find out more about that and me at www.liveforyoucoaching.com. That's www.liveforyoucoaching.com. And if you want to just follow me on social media where I post daily, multiple times a day, many times, about different range of topics from history to empowerment and motivation to news to entertainment, yada, 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 you can actually follow me at Dr. Larry Smith on both Instagram and Facebook. That is Dr. Larry Smith at both Facebook and Instagram, and you can engage with me there as well as here on Facebook, down in the Instagram, down in the comment section, and so many other places you can reach out. You can sign up for coaching. You can go out and look for some of the resources. There's a lot of things you can do to engage, to interact, to support this channel of positivity and love and light out here on these internet streets. So anyway, family, I actually am kind of late, but not really late. I actually wanted to get on here and do a review of Madea's Family Homecoming, which was the latest Madea movie from Tyler Perry. Now, mind you, I have seen this play, and so some of the movie, a lot of the movie actually was just a reflection, and even line by line somewhat in the play. And we know Tyler Perry does that quite a bit. He'll have a play, and then he'll make it into a movie, and then sometimes he just transfers some of the dialogue and the script to the movie from the play, or scenes, or whatever the case may be, which, Tyler, Mr. Perry, I'm going to say it clear, this is just the indication that you need more writers outside of yourself because you're recycling information. Which is good information, and the movie was still funny, and all of the typical Tyler Perry stuff was there. But I mean, we want to see you with a multiple of lexicon. We see that you're a very talented writer, you're a talented director. We would like to see the play have its own life, and of course the movies have their own independent life. But that's probably my main critique of Tyler Perry's work in general, and I'll leave that there. I'll put that there, leave that there, and walk away and go back to talking about Madea's Homecoming. Now, some of you, hopefully you've seen it. If not, I highly suggest you to go see it. It actually made a lot of huge numbers, and a lot of people viewed it on Netflix, and it is good. It is good. I highly recommend you go and see it. But what I like about Tyler Perry, what I have always liked about Tyler Perry, is he addressed things within the black community, but even other, the stories are so universal. While it carries a black storyline, our lives are the same as everybody else's lives, no matter what your race, ethnicity, religion, no matter what that is. We all have similar stories, and there's stories that can be told that will manifest themselves and show up in the lives of multiple different peoples of many different backgrounds. And Tyler Perry does this well, but he does it through the black experience. And I appreciate that because a lot of the themes and the subject matter and the topics that Tyler Perry chooses to discuss in his movies are usually those things that are controversially seen or not spoken about in black families within the black community. Things like abuse, things like sexual violence, things like violence in general, things like religious on and religious off, religious hatred and religious love, things like homosexuality and bisexuality and polyamory and all kinds of different things that you can think of that we would have, that all communities have, but most communities do not speak of these things in regular conversation. So a lot of times he uses these things for drama in his plays or in his movies. So for example, in this particular movie, there was a son coming home who was graduating from college, and he had a secret to share in his family. If you've seen the play, you know the secret. And this, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, this might spoil some of the movie for you. So I would turn it off and go see the movie, then come back and watch my review of it. But the secret was that he was gay. And in comical Tyler Perry form, but also in comical in many families, the family was like, okay, like, we already knew that. We were just waiting for you to come into acceptance for that. And we know many times in situations like that, the family is well aware. They're accepting, even though they don't always talk about it, they're accepting of the person that they love, you know. And so they don't have to talk about it. It's just, we accept it, we say nothing, we move forward. And but for the young man came out and he was just expecting this issue. Like, he had been holding this back. He was worried about this. We've seen a scene between him and his best friend, who, by the way, Tyler Perry in this movie was making it seem like the best friend was the secret that he had to share with his family, which I thought that was the masterful, or the kind of the power, the interesting part of it, and that Tyler Perry was playing that boundary really closely, which makes me think of other things, but I'll leave that there. This isn't a gossip channel. But nevertheless, he was shocked to see that his family had already accepted him. They were just waiting on him to accept himself, which I thought was a powerful message to put out there in the universe, especially towards my community and so many other communities in which people are not able to be themselves out of fear of rejection from their tribe. There is nothing worse, okay? Nothing worse than being rejected or feeling rejected from your tribe, because those are the people that you lean on for your understanding of who you are. And if they don't appreciate, honor, like, accept who you are, it leaves people in a place of feeling unworthy. And I will be honest, because I know from personal experience of meeting people that there are people out there whose families didn't accept their sexuality. And I know for a fact that there are so many homeless young men and young women out there on the streets surviving for their lives, doing all kinds of things for survival, whether it is using their body sexually to gain money and food and place to stay, or whether it's committing crimes, all kinds of other things, doing on drugs and so forth, trying to cope, alcohol, things to cope, just because their tribe, their family, their loved ones ousted them just for them wanting to show up as they were created to show up on this planet. And so I was happy that that wasn't the theme of the Tyler Perry's movie. The theme was acceptance, acceptance and change. And so, of course, in typical Tyler Perry form, not all of the male characters are positive. I actually thought the young man and his friend, his best friend, were positive male characters. But then there's always that other male character who just does the woman wrong, which is typically Tyler Perry. And what I gather from that is just that Tyler Perry had a experience of being raised around the women in his life. And generally some of their stories and their experiences perhaps that he's seen coming up as a kid and beyond weren't always positive. And so in talking about what he's experienced and what he's seen through his art, sometimes the men aren't the greatest. And in this particular instance, the husband, who was the young man who came out the closet's father, the ex-husband of the mom, her best friend was the divorce attorney for her, and she wound up falling in a relationship with the ex-husband, which is completely Tyler Perry twists and turns and over dramatic stuff. But this stuff does happen in some families, and this is a very true experience. It's just Tyler Perry seems to put it all in one movie at one time, and we get that experience. So he was the bad character. But what I will say in this particular movie is, while the character was there, he was not empowered. generally you see kind of a dark loom over characters like that in Tyler Perry's previous work. And I saw an interview that Tyler Perry filmed either last week or the week before, kind of gearing up towards the release of this movie, and kind of like a press movement for this movie. And he just basically said the whole purpose for even bringing Madea back, because some of you guys know that Tyler Perry about 4 years ago decided he was going to retire Madea. I think his last Madea movie was Medea's Family Funeral or something like that, where he just decided this was my wrap on Madea and I'm moving on. But there's been so much going on in the world around him, with the pandemic and all that's going on and all of this life stuff. Tyler Perry felt motivated to bring Madea back, who was just about comedy and just about happy, a happy-go-lucky, jolly character who brings laughs and lightheartedness through this moment, which I think is the blessing of artists, or the blessing of influencers, or the blessings of musicians, or whomever, to be able to use their art as a way to give us an escape. One thing I love about movies, and one thing I love about TV shows, is if it's for 30 minutes or for 3 hours, I am able to just step away from my reality and totally immerse myself into the experience of that movie, that TV show, that song, whatever. And so so he brought Madea back for the purpose of that. And so in his press stuff, he talked about, he said, this is what this is for. This is just to elevate the mood. This is just to make people feel good and love and feel embraced and desired and happy all over again. So he brought her back. And so that's why in this particular movie, the heaviness of it wasn't really there. To me, it seemed like it was majority comedy than anything. From Mr. Brown's antics of getting burned, from Aunt Bam's fast-witted, crazy high antics, from Uncle Medea's brother, Uncle Charles, my brain was not there, to his comedy antics, to Medea's gun-toting comedy antics. And he even added on there kind of what I called the British Madea. There's actually a guy who was in England, London, who performs in drag as a kind of matriarch to a family, and it's a very popular show in London, and it just escaped my mind. I should have read up on it again before I did the video, but nevertheless, he was brought in, and he was kind of this off-kilter to the Madea character, and very funny, by the way. I would say most of the swear words, the curse words throughout the movie came from him, but because of his deep Cockney English accent, you could barely understand, but he was cursing all up in that. But I thought it was funny, because generally Tyler Perry doesn't curse in his films, but it's a new day. We're growing, we're being evolved, we're able to express authentically how we are. And if that requires swear words for some people, then hey, so be it. We embrace it, we love it, we honor it. It's comedy. It took us away for a moment. And so I thought, I thought the cultural differences between the English family, or were they Scottish? I think they were Scottish, but between that family and the black family, my favorite part was when she talked about knickers. She actually was talking about pants, but then she said it and they didn't know it. And it was just like, oh my God, the cultural differences were some of the funniest moments, because we are different, but then we realize in the grand scheme of things, looking at these two very different families, that we're ultimately the same. And we have to learn to accept each other despite being different in the midst of the conversation about accepting. Another sidebar of accepting is the young man having to accept his mom dating his college best friend. They both kept it secret. He had been dating his mom. The dude didn't pick up on it. The son never picked up on it. But the guy fell in love with his mother, and that was hard for him to accept. So for me, the ultimate part of this movie was acceptance. I got acceptance throughout this movie, in that accepting others for who they are, but also learning to accept yourself for who you are. That's the hardest part, really, of acceptance. We will accept somebody in all their brokenness and all their fractured trauma, growth and whatnot, but we'll have a hard time embracing and accepting us. And I venture to say that once you learn how to accept yourself, trust who you are, honor who you are, love who you are, Fully embrace who you are and do not allow anybody to shift or move you from being your authentic self. You are a powerful vessel of acceptance, which means when somebody comes to you, they might not be where you are, they might not be where they need to be or where they want to be, but you accept them where they are and you help them through that healing. And you accept them through their journey of being the best that they can be in true 100% love with themselves. That is acceptance, and acceptance is a powerful thing, but it all starts from self-acceptance. And so the movie did a good job in kind of relaying that theme and through comedy. And I think it was wonderful that Tyler Perry saw fit for us to have a comedic, a funny, just a jovial, senseless, something. It went heavy, it went dense, there were no meanings behind it, it wasn't political. And I can get that from the way Tyler Perry speaks about it and what he's trying to do just in the interviews. That it doesn't have to be involved with nothing else. Yes, we can touch on some subjects, because in the movie, actually, they did talk on certain things. They talked about defunding the police. They talked about the pros and cons. You got different perspectives on it. You got different perspectives of people. The police was there. One of the daughters was a police officer. And then you got Uncle Charles, who was anti-police, and Madea, who was kind of on the fence about it. But it's a very interesting that, you can throw issues in there. We can have the dialogue, and then we don't allow those dialogues, because part of the conversation about those dialogues to break us apart, because part of the conversation of the entire movie was acceptance of people and their differences. So even if the person's a cop, you accept cops for who they are and what they do. If a person's anti-cop and feels that cops do too much, you accept them where they are and what they do. And so to me, the movie was about acceptance. I don't know if that was Tyler Perry's purpose. I don't know if that was his intention, but all throughout it, to me, the undercurrent was an undercurrent of acceptance. And when you talk about a message of acceptance and you preach a message of acceptance, you're preaching the best message that's out there. Why? Because we have to learn to accept ourselves. We have to learn to accept one another. We have to learn, as Byron Katie would say, to accept what is. And we have to just, do this together. We're in this together. And so you get the most hurt when you're resisting what is. You get the most hurt when you're arguing against what is true. So acceptance forces you to accept what is, to honor what is, to love what is, to appreciate what is. And it is a very powerful thing. And I think Tyler Perry did a great job going through the movie. Obviously, it has its ups and down points, but I don't really want to do too much of the down points. All I just say is, if you got about an hour, 30 or more minutes to just sit and escape from all that's going on, I recommend that you watch Tyler Perry's Madea Homecoming, and Madea's Family Homecoming, and you just enjoy yourself for that time. You laugh, and then when it's over, it's over. And hopefully you get the message of self-acceptance, the acceptance of others, and the acceptance of what is. And that's it. Family, I had to do that. I may do more of these reviews of certain things, because I have been watching quite a few things on TV. So I might be doing more reviews. I might do some housewife reviews. I got some other things that I'm planning on reviewing and talking about that I'm enjoying right now on TV. And I'm enjoying just a lot of mainstream kind of broadcast TV, which is different from watching things like on apps and cable TV to me. Reality TV, I'm kind of mixing it up a little bit now as I read. So anyway, I love you, family. I appreciate you for being here. Of course, I love being here. And as I always say, I love you with the highest love that God can possibly bestow on me to give to you. And I will see you in the next video.